For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
Hello and welcome to the Gist on Strat News Global. Hi, I'm Surya Gangadharan and welcome again to this evening's Gist. Building bridges with Pakistan is the focus of this evening's show, where we are going to ask the question, why build bridges with a country that is an existential threat to India? Those questions and more to my guest, Professor Suba Chandran. He's with the National Institute of Advanced Studies in Bangalore, where he heads the studies on conflict and security. Welcome, Suba, after a very long time.
Good to be here with you, Surya.
Suba, why build bridges with Pakistan? My inevitable and obvious question for a country that is so inimical to us and sponsors terror proxies against us. Why build bridges?
No, the geography to start with. India has a long geography, land geography, and also maritime boundaries with Pakistan. There's a long history. There is a ethnic geography. Economic geography has not been that important because of the on-off relationship between the between the two countries. But the physical geography, ethnic geography, and history, not only with Pakistan, it makes it imperative for India to have a working relationship with all its neighboring countries, including China and Pakistan. The larger question is what you asked, the existential question. Especially with Pakistan. If you look at all India's neighbors have been quite difficult to deal with. China, Pakistan, sometimes even Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka as well. But then with other countries, we have a kind of a working relationship, some kind of a bridge, not always well traveled, but some kind of a bridge. So why not with Pakistan as well? So if you ask me, my short answer would be the ethnic and physical geography necessitates this.
So that's well taken. But Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, they don't practice terrorism against us. They don't see us as an unmitigated evil. I mean, we are not, seen in such adversarial terms in those countries.
No, that's a well taken point. The big difference between Pakistan and other countries uh, vis-a-vis India is this. One, that our ability to change the narrative in, say, Bangladesh, Nepal, or Sri Lanka, or build a constituency in these countries. When compared to Pakistan, we have a better equation with Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. They are difficult neighbors, but then there are times that we have worked with. This has not happened with Pakistan, and this is less likely to happen with Pakistan as well. The second big difference between the other neighbors and Pakistan is the strong establishment, or what is referred as the deep state in Pakistan. We don't have a deep state in Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Myanmar that has such a strong anti-Delhi, anti-Indian sentiment. So when compared to other neighbors, Pakistan is a special case. I agree with that point. It is not easy to deal with Pakistan. It is also not easy for India to make a narrative that India would want it to. For example, in Sri Lanka, in Nepal, we did build a constituency and we did create a narrative. That hasn't happened in Pakistan, and that's also not likely to happen in Pakistan. That point is well taken, Surya.
And how does one, the fact that the political leaders in Pakistan, they're only a front, a facade for the military which is sitting behind. And we can't negotiate directly with the military, or is that what you're suggesting?
No, it's not totally true that we cannot negotiate with military. We did, during General Musharraf's period, though he had a facade of PMLQ and other parties, we did talk to Musharraf. It is not that we cannot. We don't, it's a political decision that we have made, to talk to military or not. But when you look at the rest of the world, everyone engages with them, except for us, perhaps. Everyone engages with the establishment, either directly or indirectly. Everyone knows who called the shots really in Pakistan. US does that. The entire European Union and European countries, Russia, China, everyone is doing that. We are well aware. So that argument, whether we should talk with the establishment or not, goes against what the others are doing. And it also goes against what India does with many of the other military regimes, from Myanmar to rest of the world. There are many military regimes that we are comfortable working with and speaking to. So the question that because it's military establishment, so we would not want to talk to Pakistan, is a question. It's a political question. I understand that's a political question, but we will have to speak to whoever is in power or whoever pulls the strings. No.
Do you see in the current situation in Pakistan where you have a government that has just come in and they made some soothing noises to India? Do you see a window there?
No, no. As you said, I totally agree with you. It is the establishment, the political parties, whether it's PPP or PMLN, they would only walk a particular extent. They are not going to be totally friendly to India or going to take India-Pakistan relations to a different level. It will not happen. It has not happened. But PMLN and the PPP will help India, especially in terms of provincial relationship. Punjab, perhaps Sindh and with Gujarat, Sindh with parts of India. Now, this relationship, especially when Nawaz Sharif, when the Sharifs were in Punjab, that Punjab relationship was in a different keel when it compared to India-Pakistan relationship. To an extent, the establishment also allowed that Punjab relations to go on. Now, this is, we have to keep this in mind. The larger India-Pakistan relations and the bilateral relations at the border level. The larger India-Pakistan relationship will never go the way that we want to, or many economists would want to. That we have to take it with a pinch of salt, and then I have to accept India-Pakistan relationship has never been and will never be uh, in a the way that many would desire to be. It would not. Establishment will always be a factor, and we have to accept it. But then keeping this in mind, are there measures that political parties, whether it's PMLN or PPP, took in the past, given the restrictions that they have? Even Musharraf did. Musharraf took a lot of steps. He was one of the leader to tell UN Security Council resolution do not matter anymore. I don't think even a political leader have made a similar statement. Yeah. So there were times even from establishment, or at least from General Musharraf, there were a few pointers willing to take an extra step. If there is, perhaps we should take that offer and then work with whatever we have.
So, what do you read in general the army chief's references to changing the geopolitics and changing geoeconomics in this region? We had Bulawal Bhutto a few days ago talking about restoring ties with India. Where do you see all this going?
No, the establishment is very clear. An establishment talks about geopolitics and geoeconomics. I think it talks about Pakistan being a part of the larger Chinese Belt and Road Initiative, China, Pakistan, and West Asia, with Pakistan in the middle. So when they are talking about geopolitics and geoeconomics, they are talking about Pakistan as the center of a regional prism in which India is not a part of that geopolitics or geoeconomics. They are, in the last couple of years, it's not only China and West Asia; it also includes Russia for them. So they see that Pakistan and China-Pakistan economic corridor as a part of this geoeconomics. They think China will use or Pakistan will be the bridge for China between China and the Arabian Seas, thereby to the Indian Ocean. So that's the geoeconomics that Pakistan is talking about. The geopolitics that Pakistan talking about is the linchpin for Russia, West Asia, Afghanistan, Iran, and China. So that's the geopolitical map that Pakistan, especially establishment, has in mind. India is not a part of that geopolitics or geoeconomics. Um for the political parties, it is again for especially PMLN, because it's a Punjab-based party. They would see it in their interest to have some kind of a limited economic interaction with India, because it would be in their interest. Some of the PMLN stalwarts, whether from the sugar industry or the cement industry, or even from the tea, dal, and rubber industry, they would see that they have some limited opening, but they are not looking at the larger India-Pakistan relation. Maybe they are talking about what can Punjab sell to Pakistani Punjab, can sell and buy at a cheaper rate. For example, tea. The tea going from India would be much cheaper to them than what they are getting from Kenya or somewhere else. Yeah. So for the political parties, especially PMLN, it would see a limited advantage in working with India at a limited level. So it's not, they are not going to make a drastic change. I think they would have learned their lesson from what Nawaz Sharif tried to do, to dream break. That will not happen. We'll have to accept that, that India-Pakistan relationship, economic relationship, will never go to that level. It will be a limited one. So political parties are now also going to be on this. The most important one is, until now we were only talking about the establishment. The last couple of years, even within Punjab, the rise of right wing, there were these right wing political parties mainly led by Jamaat Islami and JUI. I think they are now becoming history. Now, the latest set of the right wing, the Barelvi led politics, the TLP, the rise of TLP, for example, will also restrict many of what the political parties would want to do vis-a-vis India, especially on Jammu and Kashmir. We are likely to see uh, more jingoistic statement from the extreme right. The Jamaat Islami and JUI Fazlur Rahman they are right, but they are more political right. But what we are seeing is the rise of the extreme right that will make it harder for even political parties like Nawaz, PMLN and PPP to think about any normalization of relationship. So not only establishment, even the right wing will put some kind of a pressure on the mainstream parties.
So, people sometimes talk of a constituency in Pakistan that wants a relationship with India. This is the constituency you're referring to? Is it something else?
No, there is a constituency in Pakistan that looks at India. There is a business constituency. There's a constituency, for the on the cultural side, on the artist and those. But that's a smaller one. We also have to keep in mind for even within the cultural one. For example, um, we may think they are keen on watching Bollywood movies in Pakistan, but at the same time, the Lollywood is not going to be that happy with Bollywood movies moving
Yeah.
into Pakistan. So there are constituencies and also constituencies within that constituency which would not want to. For example, the movie halls would want to screen Indian movies because that's a bigger attraction. But
Yeah.
then the Lollywood may not want to have Indian movies there. So you see there is a constituency, and within that constituency there is a small group which is opposed to it. The economic constituency is something that we may want to nurture and look at. Outside, whether it's an academic or civil society, there is a constituency, but that's every day it's growing thin. The more we keep away from them, the more thinner this constituency, pro-India, not pro-India constituency, the constituency that want to have a normalized relationship with India is going to go small and may even die sometime in the near future.
So then what do we do? You've been on the track two circuit. What is the what's the kind of feedback you get from the people on the track two circuit, those who come from Pakistan?
The track to, we have done a few dialogues with Pakistan, even at a very crucial phase. There are two things that, Surya, we have to keep in mind when you talk about track 2. How open the track 2 dialogue is in terms of identifying new areas, new solutions, and new suggestions to both India and Pakistan. If you look at the record of track 2 in this, giving new ideas, new pathways, or to break through. Sometimes I feel track 2 is also equally egoistic. When it comes to, it's I haven't come across big solutions, big suggestions from track 2 that could be implemented. There are suggestions. Undoubtedly, there are some good people, extremely well-meaning people who have been talking to each other. They want to, they look in terms of culture, they look in terms of history, they look in terms of potential and possibilities. Well-meaning people talking about potential and possibilities. When politics come, the third P comes, the potential and possibilities go down. So workable solutions, looking at the low-hanging fruits. I'm sure you yourself would have been a part of track 2 dialogue. We have been talking about from Sir Creek to Siachen. We have been talking in the track 2 for the last 20 years. Is there a workable solution or a practical solution that has come with the track 2? I would take it with a pinch of salt. I have a lot of respect for people who are a part of this. So there is an element of toughening of stand even in the track 2. The second one, that's the most important one, the traction they have with the track 1. How much does the government in both sides, the ministries, let us say, let's forget about the foreign ministry or the home ministry or the prime minister office, even ministry of commerce, ministry of transport, how much does how much traction does track 2 have? I think we in South Asia, it's unfortunate track 1 and track 2 are run parallel. They don't. Even if the suggestion comes from a former foreign secretary, former financial secretary, even at that level, I think track 1 uh, doesn't give that kind of a space to track 2. And there is a difference between India and Pakistan here. Sometimes I think Pakistan pushes a few people into the track 2. Whereas we in India kind of keep away, the track 1 keeps away from the track 2. So there is a huge divide, not divide, I would not say divide. The ideas that come from track 2, whatever limited ideas, how much does track 1 takes note of it? This is a big, I would say this is a big uh, challenge for us, those who are a part of track 2. How do I convince my own government to listen to me on what could be done? That is also because the first point I talked about, workable solutions, identifying low hanging fruits, and give a roadmap. Uh, there is a problem with both. Both
Would you
the
say?
track 2 solution
Mhm.
or ideas and track 1 accepting it.
So would you say that among the track two people from who come from Pakistan, the ex diplomats, generals predominate? And how is it on our side? Is it again ex diplomats and generals, or is it more academics like you?
Academics are normally frowned upon. So there is not much of an academic insight. There are a few academics, but most of the track 2 dialogues, they are quite careful in terms of choosing the people. There is a substantial crowd of representing um, foreign ministry, establishment from both sides, political background, and even intelligence, and then academics, sometimes media. So the track 2, whenever they organize, they choose with a lot of care. People come, but predominantly it is foreign ministry establishment. So you have a retired diplomat or a retired general, because they have worked on the subject. So so they get the track 2 organizers want to listen to them and then think that they will be able to give some insights on how to take it forward, and the organizers also think they will be the bridge between them and the track 1. Yeah, so it's predominantly diplomats, military, former servicemen, but some, they are quite methodical and careful in picking up people. It's not a random one. It's well chosen.
Okay. Now, earlier when we spoke, you mentioned that you'll also discuss issues like Indus waters. You know, so do you come up with solutions there? Are there any ideas floating around?
There when I did one series of track 2 dialogue on the waters, one on focused on nuclear CBMs. There were also a few others who have done on military to military CBMs. There were a few solutions. For example, there were at least 2 or 3 sets of dialogues on in cross LOC dialogues. Of course, there were Indians, Pakistanis, and Kashmiris from both sides of J&K. They took part. Uh, there were a good set of policy recommendations came in. So when the bus service idea came, the
Yeah.
idea of truck service, the idea of cross LOC tourism, and then cross LOC educational interactions. There were a few set of good suggestions from the track 2 it came in. They were, some of them are recorded and then published. There were some senior academics, for example, Professor Chima from Pakistan, my mentor, Professor P.R. Chari. They have done at least 2-3 sets of interactions with solid inputs. There were also specific notes, for example, on Siachen, on Indus waters. Uh, but on Indus waters, I'm afraid uh, people who were engaged in the dialogue were more of social scientists, whereas we should have involved more of engineers
Yeah.
uh, and also political leadership from both sides on this. And then it's unfortunate on the Indus Water Dialogue. One thing that at least now in retrospect, we didn't have data. We were just talking in terms of what needs to be done without realizing what is the data of quantum of water available, not only between India and Pakistan, for both India and Pakistan, in terms of what is available in the Himalayas. What is the monsoon, what is the level, the water availability, and how much it's going to go down as the climate change changes. These are larger data that we need, and this is something that we need to invest. There are what happens in Himalayas is going to be a problem not only for India and Pakistan, but also for Nepal and even China.
Yeah. The whole region. Yeah.
Yeah. So my director here at the National Institute of Advanced Studies has been talking about a Himalayan Science Council. As that we need to study. All of us have to study because there is going to be an issue for all of us. And India and Pakistan also have to realize it's not just. More importantly, Pakistan has to realize it's not going to be India. The climate change in the nature
Yeah.
is such that there are going to be changes, and even India has to understand. For example, the rapid declining of groundwater level in Pakistan is going to put a lot of pressure on Pakistan, and in turn, Pakistan is going to apply pressure on us for no fault of us. The declining water table in Pakistan is what is happening in Pakistan because of its own inability to fill in, because of climate change reasons. Because see, for Pakistan, we have to understand Indus is the only river system for them. There are a couple of smaller rivers in Balochistan, but Indus is the only river system. So Pakistan's existence comes from Indus water. That's why it's going to create more pressure on in the Indus water agreement, and thereby on India.
And there is a growing sentiment in India to ensure that the waters allocated to us don't go off into Pakistan. There's that demand also rising here.
No, absolutely. This. There are a lot of engineers here in India, they do talk about how we, both India and Pakistan have not made optimal use of what is available to them yet. Forget about diverting somebody else's water.
Yeah.
We have not made optimal use of, we all know the Indus Water Treaty is a suboptimal treaty. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we also have, Pakistan also have to realize the treaty was signed in 1960 when the population was in a different proportion.
Yeah.
The level of industrialization different then in 1960 when we signed the Indus Water Treaty. Today, urbanization, population have substantially increased. So the stress on water has increased on both India and Pakistan over
Yeah.
Indus. But we also have to appreciate the technology has also increased.
Yeah.
So the optimal use of water and how we can use water has also, there are technologies that we can make better use of the water that is available with us.
Yeah.
So there needs to be a larger dialogue on this particular aspect. We are talking in terms of ownership of the rivers. I think we have to talk about how to share the water instead of sharing the rivers. Especially Pakistan has this way they start with, these rivers belong to us, so India should not touch the water. What we have to look at is the waters belong to both countries, and then we have to see how better we can make use of the waters. Both countries will face increasing stress, and Pakistan will face even more because they will have a problem with the Kabul River as well, whatever comes from the west, because they have no single treaty with, at least with India they have the Indus Water Treaty. The Pakistanis don't have anything with Afghanistan in terms of sharing water with the other side.
So in all this, from what you've told me, um, what is the sense you get? You've been dealing with this issue for some time. You've had dialogues at the tractable level with the other side. You've formed your own conclusions. What is it that you see? When you look at the India-Pakistan relationship, where do you see this? Do you see it ever going forward?
Pakistan will remain a difficult neighbor for us. uh, Pakistan will remain a difficult neighbor even for Afghanistan and Iran as well. Pakistan will be a difficult neighbor for the entire region. We'll have to accept it. This is how it will be. Uh, Neither India nor Afghanistan nor Iran can change the political landscape of Pakistan. We are not there. We are not that powerful. Even the Chinese could not change the uh, political landscape or the political military equation in Pakistan. So this will have to be taken as a given. The relationship the intra Pakistan relationship, intra provincial relationship within Pakistan between Sindhis and Punjabis and Pashtuns. So this is going to be a difficult neighbor for us, and unfortunately, we will not be able to make much of a change. But having said that, your question is what to do with this neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah. What to do with this neighbor? We tried to talk to them, it didn't work.
Yeah.
We tried to shut our relationship with them. Has it yielded much result? I don't know. So we may have to find a working relationship with Pakistan. It will never get better and be rosy, like the way India would want to have with its neighbors. It would never be rosy. But we have to ensure it doesn't become too thorny for us. So a working relationship with Pakistan is something that we may have to deal with.
So you don't see, last question, you don't see this current non-dialogue going on. You don't see this current situation as helping us in any way, because terror strikes have reduced. Kashmir is much quieter than it used to be. There is less of that tutu meme going on.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. That the last 10 years we have decided to choose. Last 8 years we have decided to choose a particular uh, path with Pakistan.
Yeah.
Depending on whom you are talking to, whether it has yielded results or whether it has not yielded. But my point here is this on this is, you know, across the world, all countries, including China, US, they all are dealing with difficult neighbors. They have difficult neighbors. You look around China, and then you'll be able to find, you know, how difficult neighbors it has. But China shut down its relationship with the neighbors. US and Mexico. We are seeing Europe and Russia. You know,
Yeah.
my point here is a country that wants to be a global power cannot be seen by others as refusing to talk to the neighbors. Uh, that's my point here. You know, we need to have a working relationship, keeping in mind it would never become a great relationship. What is the nature of relationship with China? Is it great? Is it likely to improve? No,
Yeah.
it's not. You know, but we are trying to have a working relationship with China, and China is also trying to do the same thing with us. So, you know, if we can work with China and then agree that there are issues that are not going to be resolved, but yet have a working relationship, you know, maybe we may want to do it with other neighbors as well, including Pakistan.
Suba Chandran, pleasure talking to you. So the idea is a working relationship, and we should have no illusions about being able to change anything in Pakistan. I think that is well understood. But the working relationship may also be difficult to achieve. Suba, thanks very much. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Surya. Good to be with you.
And for those of you who have joined us on this conversation, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it as interesting as I found talking to Suba. We'll have more such conversations in the future. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter and social media. Thank you and good night.